What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to Life in the Grand Valley. It's Keallan Dowells with Brown Real Estate and Brown Built Custom Homes here to show you what it's like to live, buy, sell, and build here in the Grand Valley of Grand Junction, Colorado. And today, I'm joined by my two good friends, Tony and Travis. How you guys doing?
Good.
Good. And today, we're going to talk about what it's like to live in Palisade, Colorado. Stay tuned. All right, guys. So obviously, we're talking about what it's like to live in Palisade, Colorado. I figured why not ask some actual residents instead of me. So, how long have you guys been here?
Since 2010.
Okay, so 13 years. What mainly attracted you guys to Palisade versus anywhere else in the Grand Valley?
I'd say one was the mainly for me was the location for my work. Obviously, I head to the east to work, so for me when we first moved here, that was a big one was just the location for Palisade to my work.
What about you, Tony? Was that mainly it? The biggest?
I think that's mainly what we were looking for is
Mhm.
a place that was pretty and good neighborhoods,
Mm-hmm.
but also close enough of a drive, accessible to I-70,
Mhm.
that sort of thing. We really liked that there was an airport close by, but that we weren't under the airport traffic.
Yeah.
Um, And I think the feel for Palisade having a little bit closer neighborhoods rather than like DeBeck or Parachute,
Mm-hmm.
where it's just set up a little bit differently. So we still got a good amount of land and a neighbor or two, but not like right on top of your next neighbor.
Right.
kind of thing.
Right. Did you guys tour anywhere else? Like, did you guys look at homes anywhere else? Or you just kind of pinpoint Palisade mainly it's for its location and kind of determine like it kind of checked the boxes for you guys?
We looked a lot in like East Orchard, Mesa.
Mm-hmm.
We liked that area. We
Mhm.
looked some off Patterson, and there's a lot of family areas over there.
Like
Yeah.
north portion of Palisade.
When we moved here, Redlands was a really nice area, but it was
Mhm.
quite far for us to drive for
Mhm.
Travis's work. And then a lot of the new Fruita builds and things that were going on to the south of
That's good.
I-70
Yeah.
weren't really being built yet, so
Mhm.
none of that had been discovered.
Okay, I got you. So, with living here for 13 years, what would you say would be kind of maybe the top 3 or 5 pros to living here, and what would you say would be your top 3 or 5 cons or negative to living out here in Palisade?
Say the top. We'll just thought top best three. Best three. One is obviously the location.
Mhm.
It's a little bit separate from the rest of the valley out here in Palisade, but yet you're still close enough to the Grand Valley that you
Mhm.
can enjoy the Grand Valley things. So say one was for us was the separation from I'd say the big city life
Right.
of what you have that in the Grand Valley
Right.
to what Palisade gives you.
Mhm.
And then one was obviously the scenery.
Yeah.
The scenery we have, obviously what we have behind us.
Yeah.
This is our backyard. So
Right. Got the book
Um,
cliffs right behind us in the
it's-
backyard, and got the mesa to the east there.
yep,
So.
definitely close. When in wintertime sports and stuff, you're 30, 45 minutes from the ski area to cross country skiing, snowmobiling. So I'd say those were are my big picks to this side of the valley.
Mhm. What about you, Tony?
I really liked how they have a lot of events for families and kids in Palisade throughout the year. There's
Mhm.
different, there's the Sunday open air markets downtown. You can kind of walk anywhere in Palisade. I came from beach cities where we biked and walked everywhere.
Mhm.
That was a big thing, and so that felt like home to me. I like how the neighborhoods are set up. you tend to know all your neighbors. I don't like living in a place where I don't know the people that are living around me.
Right.
So people are friendly and help each other out. Um, I what else? I think just the fact that we could get the kids out of the house and we didn't have to worry about them running around outside and having a good time and playing. You know, there's a lot going on. There's canals that some people might think are unsafe or whatever, but it's a lot of fun for kids who are outdoor kids, and it feels safe, and you know, have to worry about a lot of foot traffic and car traffic, and it feels like a place you want to raise kids.
Right. So you just you feel like you have a really tight knit, good community, supportive community around you.
Very family oriented community.
Yeah.
That's good, because my next question, you know, we'll dive into your negatives, but one of my questions today was going to be like, how did you feel about, you know, raising a family here? You know, obviously, did you guys have kids when you guys first moved here, or did you guys start a family afterwards?
Yeah, no, we had one kid when we first moved here, and then the other two came shortly after we moved here.
So you'd obviously recommend that someone's looking for a family-oriented place to raise a kid here in the Grand Valley, Palisade would be a good option for them.
Yep, it's a great opportunity. Yep.
As far as I can tell, you know, the town board and the people that help plan the Chamber of Commerce, some of them really do keep that in mind, family orientation. I think Palisade just has that long history of, you know, farming and agriculture, keeping things tight-knit, like you said, and making family a real priority. I know that at Palisade High School and even the competitive sports that are in the Valley, they try to keep the kids together, and you know, when kids find their groups, they really try to like to support and keep kids like growing up together.
Right.
And that's helpful, I think.
Most definitely. So I know the two younger ones aren't, you know, in high school yet, but we know that your oldest daughter went to Palisade High School, right? And how'd you like it there?
Good. She enjoyed the framework around the high school. Like Tony said, the groups are very close. So not only do they do things within the high school themselves, but those same groups, you know, they transpire to things out of the high school. So those close-knit group friends, you know, they stay close, and even past high school. It's the same group of friends that she had there. They are continuing those relationships out past the high school ages.
Okay. And what about the two youngest ones? Did they go to school out here in Palisade, or?
Well, we homeschool the girls, so Lily was able to be a part of the Palisade High School sports athletics programs, although we had our choice to participate when we wanted and do our homeschool when we wanted. So the younger girls will follow that same pattern. They'll be able to participate in sports and other elective activities, anything that D51 offers, but we also have the freedom to choose our own curriculum and stay at home and do anything that we want towards their credits for junior high and high school.
Okay. So that's a great option, especially for those who might be looking to homeschool their kids at a younger age too, and still be able to get that, you know, social aspect of going out and interacting with kids in the community and having those opportunities.
Absolutely. We've really valued that a lot. Across the valley, actually, even Fruita and Grand Junction has a broad homeschool network. A lot of co-ops, a lot of opportunity for parents to get kids involved and to really expand areas of education that are not typically included in just, you know, the 6 periods of the public high school. So, you know, depending on what your child is into and what their gifts are and their propensity, like what their where they want to go with their life and pursue career choices, you can pick and choose what works for them and what works for your family.
Awesome. And then kind of steering back to what we were talking about earlier, just building off of that. So obviously we talked about a lot of the positives to living here and what you guys truly like about the community. What are some negatives that you would say that you would see, if any, about living out in Palisade? I know I've done videos in the past talking about Palisade a little bit. It is a smaller town when you look at it in comparison to population-wise to the rest of the Grand Valley, but also it does see a lot of tourist traffic. It's got peaches. The wine industry is pretty big out here. So would you guys see that as a negative, or anything else that you guys would say about living out here that might kind of turn you guys off or turn some other people away?
Say negative, which kind of ropes into being out here and kind of secluded to the small community, is mainly just the distance that you have to travel to. Whether it be like a well-established grocery stores or entertainment wise. I mean, Palisade does have its own entertainment things, but yeah, to get into town, it's a good clip out there.
Probably 30 minutes, huh?
At
To
least,
get from here
yeah.
to kind of Junction.
Junction.
Yeah, I've done videos talking about how like kind of Grand Junction is just the heart of the Grand Valley. Like most of everything you need is going to be there, and so a lot of people I know Fruita has more options for like grocery stores like City Market stuff like that. I know Palisade has a local grocery store, but yeah, like you're saying, kind of that distance to travel is probably about 30 minutes to town.
At least, yeah.
What would you say are some other negatives, if any, that you would see besides just the distance?
Yeah, just the like we were saying, maybe the lack of every nightlife.
Yeah.
Like we do have our we do have the a few nightlife venues here,
Right.
but it's not like every night. Like it's a specific night that that you have to kind of schedule it out to go there.
Right,
It's
like
not-
the distillery, the brewery,
Yep.
stuff like that.
Yep. So as far as like obviously if you want to go out to eat somewhere, there is local diners and cafes here, but like if you want to broaden your menu,
Right.
you definitely have to travel out
Yeah.
into town for
And
that.
I think your girls are complaining about this, like, making a point earlier. They were talking about how you have those dine-in restaurants, but if you need something quick, you don't really have those
Right.
options out
No,
here.
everything's pretty much a sit down
Mhm.
restaurant here in town. Yeah.
Gotcha. Tony, anything else you can think of?
I don't know. I think like the travel distance can be looked at negatively or positively, depending, because the valley as a whole, like Fruita, Grand Junction, Redlands, Palisade, really offers different events on their own accord, and so as much as a Fruita resident would travel to Palisade for peaches and wine,
Yeah.
we're gonna go to their festivals when they host
Yeah.
for holidays. So it's kind of a mix. They really have like a broad offering. So to drive, 20 minutes or so, depending on traffic, that can be a positive or negative, because you're not right in the city, and that comes with its benefits, but you also might have to drive a little bit further to get something that you're looking for.
Right.
Some people don't like the train. We're
Right.
really close to the train.
That's a good point.
Depending on what location you find, it can, I think, kind of be something that residents have to get used to. What else?
As far as sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, as far as the tourism, I mean, you kind of got to take that, as a sixes either way, right?
Right.
Without it, you wouldn't have the festivals and everything that are
Right.
put on here in Palisade. So I mean, it's I wouldn't say as a resident it's a nuisance. I've never been inconvenienced by any
Right.
tourism or
Right.
anything like that. But I mean, obviously, on Sundays during the summer they have their Sunday market, and that shuts down pretty much the main streets there in Palisade. So I mean, you really just have to plan accordingly, I
Right.
suppose. But we don't obviously have the traffic that's going to really deter you from going out into town.
Right. I think a big thing too is, once again, I've talked about this in other videos, but like the three major areas in the Grand Valley, Palisade, Grand Junction, Fruita, they all have their own downtown scene. They all have their own benefits and their own, things that kind of highlight the town and make the town their own. I know, once again, Palisade is known for its peaches and wine, but I also mentioned that, the Peach Street Distillery is popular, the brewery is great. Both of them have great food. You have other mom and pop restaurants downtown that kind of have their own unique spin to it, and their own good food. So kind of steering in that direction, what would be your top places that you guys like to go? Whether it's like a Friday or Saturday night, we've met for drinks and you want to have a couple drinks, some good entertainment, and have some dinner, or taking the kids out to enjoy a night out and frequent those areas.
Yep. I'd say if it's just an adult setting, you know, the distillery has, you know, they have good drinks.
Yeah.
Their pizzas are great.
Yeah, the pizzas are great there.
The food's really good there. So I'd say if it was an adult setting, that would probably be, you know, the number one place in town to go.
It's very popular. I really like East Orchard Mesa. So just over the river from Palisade, if you go up the hill by Talbot's,
Oh yeah.
there's a number of new wineries that have opened, and they have really nice lawn and grass areas where they pull up food trucks, and we get like local Monday nights at Spoken Vine Motel where there's food truck and little outdoor games and outdoor seating, and it just is a really nice ambiance. They have, you know, just these little tiny pop-up bars and things where you can kind of find some craft cocktails or foods. And I think it makes it unique, and it kind of makes it exciting because it's not just the same old thing all the time. Like, you kind of have to look into when they're going to be parked there, and you can kind of plan a little bit and bring friends. But that's like what I don't know, I like that.
Yeah. No, it's fun. I think, you know, a big thing that I've noted in some of the videos I've done before is, like, if you're looking for, you know, that more urban city area nightlife and activities, then Grand Junction just isn't a spot for you. Like, it has its benefits. It has fun events like you guys mentioned. I know, once again, you know, you got the Palisade, the Peach Fest, the Wine Fest. They got the Bluegrass Festival, and they've done other things which are fun. And it makes for a great weekend activity. But, you know, as you mentioned, nightlife is, you're not gonna come out here and looking for a great club or anything like that, you know. And I know you guys know about, because you guys lived in Cali for a while, so that was kind of, you guys experienced with that scene for a minute, right? Yeah. But
it's not that's just not the hometown feel here.
Yeah, exactly. But for people looking for kind of what we've talked about, it's probably, you know, it's gonna check the boxes for them in terms of having a tight-knit community, still options to go out and be able to enjoy themselves, either for, you know, adult night out or for a family night. And it sounds like it's a great place to raise kids as well.
You can definitely find both, you know, here within the valley itself. Whether, you know, you want to have that nightlife out, you can find it, you know. And but I'd say the majority of the restaurants and stuff are definitely family oriented around across the valley.
Right.
So.
And your guys' kind of lifestyle, and I mentioned this a lot in the own videos that I did, is kind of really centered around the outdoors too, right? Like, you guys, you know, obviously, I mentioned before, it's not just about hunting, but you guys like to get outside and hunt as a family and go camping and fishing and all that stuff. And obviously, Palisade, you mentioned, is a great.
Closer.
It's closer to be able to, you know, we're 30-45 minutes away from doing all those things. And during the winter, like you said, you can snowmobile, you can ski, you can do all that stuff. So it's just a great location to be able to enjoy all those things that, you know, I certainly love to do, and you guys love to do, and your kids love to do as well.
I think Palisade gives a really good opportunity to people that are moving into the area to realize that we're still growing a little bit. I think some of the mentality here is still forward facing in that direction of family orientation and conservative values. But they're still growing in the sense of, like, how to make the events better and how to be more involved. So, you know, being on the Chamber of Commerce or the board, like, there's a lot of opportunities to come and, like, help make it a better place and a nicer place to live and, like, events better and all kinds of, I think, opportunities in that realm. And that's fun because you can get involved. It's small enough where you feel like you know what's going on and you kind of can have a say in how things go, and people are very receptive to a degree.
Right.
So
no one likes change very much, right?
I mean, but I think most of what we've seen has been good. The growth that we've seen.
Yeah.
Nobody wants it to get too big. We don't want to, like, overstep that place that we have and make it more than what it needs to be. It's really just taking care of what's here and making sure that it goes in a positive direction and that we get some growth that we're looking for, business-wise, and, like, getting more restaurants and other activities for kids to do. I think they've talked about building a rec center. And there's just some really neat things coming up, I think, that Palisade will continue to be even better than it is now.
Right. And I know there's, you know, I've talked about, once again, keep referring back to other videos if you guys haven't seen them, for those of you who are watching. But, you know, when we look at Palisade, there's not a whole lot of inventory out here. You know, there's a couple new developments coming up, some townhouses and some other, you know, single-family developments that are popping up. But you know, inventory is not very high out here, which is not a bad thing, right? That kind of goes against or with your aspect of not overgrowing, but you know, at a steady rate. But it just seems like Palisade kind of has that old small town feel, tight knit community that I grew up in, and you guys obviously kind of grew up in, and that a lot of people are looking for. You know, a lot of people are moving away from those bigger areas because they just find that they're losing that value and that kind of that lifestyle where they're growing up, and so that's why they're looking to the Grand Valley. And it seems like Palisade is a good fit. You know, if you're looking for a lot of the big aspects that you guys have kind of shared with us today. You know, any other input?
No, unless you got any more questions.
No, that's it. I promise that's it. Well, I appreciate you doing this video with me and kind of, you know, letting people know who are looking into Palisade. And once again, guys, you know, life in the Grand Valley with Brown Real Estate and Brown Built Custom Homes, hoping to show you what it's like to live out here. And if you have any questions about inventory or buying or selling or building related, I'd love an opportunity to chat with you guys. And once again, thanks for joining me, and
Welcome.
stay tuned for the next one.
Thanks.